Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talking Business with me, Danny Pardo. I'm chatting with two business founders today in Kat and Jay, who run an organisation called Imagen Insights, and they have got some insights. See what I did there? They have got some insights for you about their career journeys, what their organisation does, the importance of Generation Z, and where we're going in terms of their organisation and some of the career advice that they've got for you. So here we go. Let's talk business with Kat and Jay from Imagen Insights. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talking Business. We've got two people joining me today. We are chatting to Kat and Jay from Imagen Insights. So, hello, Kat and Jay. How are you both?
Hi, yeah, good, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm well. Thank you very much. Thanks for taking the time out to have us here.
Well, thank you as well for taking the time out. I know my students and everybody else watching and listening will really appreciate this because we get to get stuck into what is Imagen Insights and who are you two? Who are we talking to today? So, should we start with that then? Who is Kat? If we've never heard of you, never met you, who is Kat?
So I'm Kat Agostino. I'm Portuguese and also British. I'm a Southeast Londoner, born and bred. I am, of course, the co-founder of Imagen. I'm also the co-founder of a network called Dawn, which is dedicated to inspiring and supporting women in media and advertising. And I'm also a very recently qualified PT, personal trainer.
Oh, wow. Keeping it mixed
so
up
Kat
there
literally does everything.
Yeah, it sounds it.
Kat
Absolutely
literally does everything. Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. What about yourself, Jay? Who is Jay then?
So I'm Jay Richards. So I'm one of the other co-founders. I'm fifth of six children, if that's helpful. My parents are immigrants, if that's helpful. So I've worked in sales for the last maybe 15 or 16 years. I met Kat about 2 years ago now. We went for long walks around East London and decided to start Imagen. So that's pretty much our journey through and through. But yeah, that's me.
Brilliant. I love that you went for a walk and you decided to start a business. that makes it sound so easy. That ruins all of my lessons. We do years worth of stuff on you must do this and do that. And you two just went for a walk and started a business. So what is Imagen Insights then? But being as though it's come from literally conversations between two people, what is Imagen Insights for people who don't know?
Yeah, so it's funny just to pick up on something that we'd said with Danny before, but we're Imagen, and it's spelled IMAGEN, and the Gen part references Generation Z. So to anyone between the ages of 16 to 26 in our case, because that's who we work with. And our mission for Imagen is to enable Gen Z to shape their future. And we do that by providing opportunities for these young people, and hopefully some of you, to work with brands and agencies by providing honest feedback, like really brutally honest feedback about brands' products or their marketing or their branding, but getting paid to do so.
Yeah, which is really, really cool. So in a nutshell, we pay our community for every insight that they provide. We've got a new platform that's launching that basically means that you can do it straight from your phone or from your desktop, from your laptop, whatever it may be. And you can actually just get paid to provide that insight. So we enable agencies and brands. So we work with brands like eBay or Gymshark or PepsiCo, and they crowdsource qualitative or quantitative feedback, ideas, or insights from our community. So we have a community now of just under 2,000 Gen Z globally. So they use our platform to crowdsource ideas and insights and feedback from that community within 72 hours, which is really, really cool. And for us, really, the idea is to bring the voices of Gen Z to act as consultants for brands. So it's really to make sure that brands can stay in touch with what's going on with in the Gen Z world at any time and do it really, really simply and really, really quickly.
Oh, brilliant. So based on that then, we going back to the theory of what we look at in a class, and we look at business to business or business to consumer. Are you a bit of both then in terms of if you're dealing with actual Generation Z, that's the consumer side, and then you've got the business to business side in that you are dealing with the brands that you're talking about. Is that right?
Yep,
yeah.
Exactly
So
right.
so for us, our business is actually selling to the brands, and then the Gen Z are really they're part of our team. They're our community. So we're not really having to sell to Gen Z, which is great because they come to us and they join our platform. Cat does a lot of reach out to them, but yeah, our what we're actually selling is B2B. So we're selling directly to businesses and to brands.
Oh, fantastic. So this Generation Z then, I was trying to do some research. I think I'm Generation X. I think I'm a few letters ago, but I'm not 100% certain. So, but I'm definitely not your target market, which is fine. You know, I can deal with that. But my students are, and a lot of students listening and watching this will be. So Gen Z, when you said 16 to 26-year-olds, is this a global thing? When you mentioned it was global, and why are they so important to businesses? Then why are 16 to 26-year-olds so important that they need a business like yours? Then?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, sorry, you go, Jay.
I love the internet delay. I absolutely love the internet delay. Yeah, so they have, one of the key things is that they have a spending power of $4.4 trillion at the moment. So that's a lot of money that Gen Z are wielding. And there's three key characteristics that probably sum up the community really, really well. So they're activists, so it means they truly care about things. They're the ones that are at the front of the Black Lives Matter marches. They're the ones that are leading the changes with regards to gender bias and all these different bits and pieces. Then they're co-creators. They just care about creating cool things with cool people. They don't want to be the face of things. For them, it's like, hey, I just want to build something amazing with amazing people, which is nice. And the last one is that they're digital natives. So unlike millennials, they truly grew up in the internet age. For those guys, it was kind of first mobile experiences and so on and so on. They grew up using iPhones. They grew up using all the things. But millennials, we kind of caught onto them a little bit later, which is really, really cool. And I know Kat will allude to why they're important to businesses.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a good question that you asked there, and I think, you know, they represent such a huge percentage of the population. So, you know, to disregard them or kind of to not value this generation and their opinions and you know, how they can impact business would be such a disservice, because they are, the makeup just generally in terms of population is so huge. And Jay said it as well. You know, they're the first generation that is truly digital native, and that's kind of nearly from birth. So although we're working with 16 to 26-year-olds, Gen Z are actually, you know, from 8 years old. So if you kind of think from back then of course technology, digital, it was kind of everything that was available to them. The spending power for this generation is also huge. So to, you know, for businesses to be aware of that, to tailor communication to factor that in, is also a really crucial point. They are, I think, you know, coming back to that technology point, is that because they've had this access to technology, and Jay and I are millennials, so we're not Gen Z either, that, you know, they are really, really well researched, and they will, you know, spend time really delving into stuff to be able to form an opinion and to, you know, to say what they think. And we see that day in, day out with our community. And I think kind of as a result of that, but also another point is that they just really want to create change, to make change, whether that's from community aspects, whether that's from, you know, the planet. They want to actively change the way that we are living. I think also another really important point is that diversity is really expected within this generation. So that's a huge thing when you're looking at businesses, whether it's a startup business to an existing corporate business. You know, diversity seems to be the buzzword, but actually this is a generation that doesn't think like that. They expect that there should be a diverse workforce. So to have all of these things, you can, you know, if you're really listening to this generation and taking their opinions on board, then your business is going to benefit hugely from that.
And that's really interesting what you talk about digital natives and diversity there, because this week in education, there's been a lot of talk about the mobile phone ban, and students should not be allowed to use mobile phones. And I find that just, I'm going to try not to get too personal, because I'd rather hear your opinions than mine. But, you know, I find that horrendous with what you're talking about. They've grown up with technology, and it's how they communicate, collaborate, research, share ideas, and be creative. You know, you can be creative on that. And to say that you're not allowed to use it to learn from is just completely bizarre to me. You know, I can't make any sense out of that at all.
For sure. I think the interesting thing behind that is because probably the rules are being made by people our age and your age.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, this makes sense because this is what was happening in our generation. I'm not realizing that these guys are light years ahead of us. And my son's 14, so watching him do research, he's like, oh, okay, I need to learn about World War II, and he just jumps onto YouTube and just watches back-to-back YouTube videos, and then he comes to me and starts talking to me about Adolf Hitler, and I'm like, interesting.
Yeah.
And
we've got
from the other extreme as well. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, but going into what Jay said there. Jay, this is your internet delay. We was all fine until you said something. Going into what Jay said there, having all that information, it is there at your fingertips. Like, all you got to do is choose to learn, and it's there for Gen Z. Kat, were you going to add to that or give another perspective on that?
Yeah, no, not another. I mean, it was just in agreement. It was a case of, so the opposite end of the spectrum is my daughter's only 2, or not quite 2, and she's already, taking photos on my phone. She's already, like, just at that young age, we don't let her have the phone, but she's grabbing it and she's, knowing how to work things. And I think that, I'm not going to say I'm going to limit her screen time because she's small, but, she's going to grow up with that. And so I have to allow her to learn and develop in the way that is natural to her.
Yeah. And, going on with that, and you also talked about diversity there, and it's always strange to me when I hear diversity, because I'm with my students a lot of the time, thankfully back now physically, and I see the diversity in the room. To me, it's an everyday part of life. So when people say workforces aren't diverse and things, I get a bit confused by that, because the world I live in and work in is very diverse. Are you seeing that with where you work and the businesses you work with? Have we got these diverse workforces that are really adding to organizations?
I think it completely depends on the business. I think for us, we're in an amazing position because we have built our business around diversity, about having, around having a diverse community, working with clients that are diverse, making sure that we are educating and helping people to understand why that is so important. When we look at our own internal team at Imagen, we're a small team, but there's 5 languages between us. We're all from different backgrounds, whether that's our heritage, etc. We live in different locations. We have different life lessons. We've grown up in different places, and I think that diversity angle goes beyond just gender and race. When we look at our community as well, we've got 5% that are registered as disabled. We're recently having a conversation around those that might be on benefits, and how we incorporate that as an inclusion metric within what we're trying to do. But then you get the other side of businesses that are much more established, that perhaps haven't had to think in that way, and now we're sort of really trying to backtrack and make sure that workforce is diverse. But I don't know if Jay, you've got anything else to add on that, but we're talking about it all the time, day in, day out, and we don't see it enough.
Yeah, so within our community, 65% of our community is female, 35% of our community is Black, 25% are Asian, 10% from the LGBT community, 5% are disabled, and about 20% are from a low-income background. So when we say we're diverse, we're actually truly diverse, and I think that's the key. And Kat put it most eloquently. So yeah, those are our statistics internally with regards to our community. But yeah, globally, it's just not the standard. So and the interesting thing is, and probably for your business students, because I'm an ex-business studies student myself, so I love this stuff. But the interesting thing globally is that if you are advertising to 10 people in a room, and 3 of those people are Black, and then you ignore them, you're then only getting 7 of the people buying your products. Do you know what I mean? And it's the exact same process with regards to if one of those people in the room was from the LGBT community, now you're ignoring 4 people. If one of those people's from a disabled background, now when you look at the statistics and the percentages, the way businesses advertise are normally to a very small subset or niche of the community that they think is the majority, but it turns out it actually isn't the majority. So it's an interesting one.
I love the way you said that they think, because, people, we can get stuck in our ways. I've been teaching for 11, 12 years now, in this one place, a few years elsewhere, and you can get stuck in your ways. And I think like this because it's always been like this, and that is not true in any sense of the word nowadays, with the world changing so quickly as it is. in some cases for the better, in some cases for the worse. But things are changing, and we do have to change how we think, which ties into what I wanted to ask you about market research, then. So why are businesses so keen to do market research in that they're using you? Because you work with a lot of big brands. I've seen those business names on your website there. Why are they so keen to do market research then? Is it because of some of the things you're saying with spending power, or are businesses really thinking long-term customers now from this Generation Z that we've got?
Yeah, I mean, our motto has always been to create with your target audience, with your target consumer, and not for them. So that means you have to understand who that consumer is. And the way that you do that is by listening, trying to understand, having a conversation, bringing them into that conversation. And so what we're trying to do is when we're speaking to these brands and these agencies, we're trying to have that conversation and say, if you're going to create something for Generation Z, be that a product, a brand, marketing campaign, unless you consult with them first, how are you going to know what it is that they want? And that can apply to any product in any sector. But you have to consult with them and bring them into that conversation. And so that's what we do. We provide these insights on behalf of these brands, and it's fantastic because it can help to shape what these brands and these and these agencies are creating. We had an amazing case earlier this year where we asked our community to feedback on a piece of content, and that content then didn't launch out. It didn't become an advert that went out into the market as a result of that. And so it's really, really important that businesses, if they want to attract a type of audience, and it doesn't have to necessarily be Gen Z, but obviously for this purpose, but yeah, it's that consulting with and creating alongside so that you can truly put something out that is meaningful and that will gain the trust of this audience.
Yeah, because you've also got, it's a very competitive market, isn't it, nowadays? And, what I've found from my students is that there's a little bit of brand loyalty, but on the most part, trends and fashions come and go so quickly, and they are so influenced by whoever's doing what on social media, that it must be hard for businesses to be able to keep up and do that. And I think, Jay, did you say 72 hours feedback or something earlier with regards to how quick you turn things around at Imagen?
He was talking and the microphone was off. So 72 hours is our normal turnaround time. We actually delivered some stuff for that client that Kat was speaking about a second ago in an hour. So our community is extremely well engaged, and we're able to turn around things really, really quickly. And I think you alluded to it a second ago, the importance of staying on top of things in the moment, because the reason why we do 72 hours is because something that's important on Monday might not be important anymore on Wednesday. So you need to be able to gain that insight really, really quickly and jump on it and get started. So I think, yeah, there's definitely an interest in what we're building, which is great. And the great thing is we get to pay our community to deliver in such quick time.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. I mean, we're looking at, you've been a business student, so you probably know what I'm about to say here. But in turn, the way we've had to teach promotional units that you have a year-long plan to do this. I mean, you do research in June and then you launch something in January, and that is. Okay, maybe that's the case for some brands and some kind of advertising methods, but with social media and being able to create things so quickly, then businesses like yours really making it, on a daily, hourly basis. I was going to say daily, but you're doing it, as it just keeps rolling and flowing, and that's fascinating to see that there's a need for it, and that is the business and the corporate world that we live in. But that's how it's going to go. So, talking about, if you don't mind me getting a bit personal here with you two, I mean, do you prefer, have you worked for other people in other businesses, or have you always been this kind of, I need to run my own business, and you've had that kind of mindset since you were 16, 17? How's that been for you?
Yeah, I mean, yes, we both have worked for other people, but I specifically had quite a long career within media agencies, so working in digital departments, planning and buying digital media campaigns, so within the advertising space, and I did that for many years and absolutely loved it. But there was always something that was in my head, which was, I think there's something else. I think there's something else that I can do, that I want to own, that I want to run, be that with, you know, another person, but just to create something else. So yeah, I founded my first business 6 years ago. I mentioned Dawn, the network that I founded, and that's actually now in its 11th year. That's more of a social enterprise as opposed to a business that brings in money. And then of course Jay and I met, and you know, I personally can't imagine anything different now. But I think Jay's probably got a slightly different story. I think he might want to work for someone else at one point.
Yeah, so so I've worked in sales all my life. So I started selling when I was like 13, 14 years old, but I was selling my own products when I was in secondary school. So I just started printing t-shirts and selling those in secondary school, and then no matter if I had a full-time job or not, I was always had something on the side that I was doing something small or running nightclub promotions or whatever. So I was always doing something on the side, but I always had a full-time job. And then when Kat and I met and we started Imagen, that's the first time I've gone out and worked full-time for myself. And yeah, the thing is, I thoroughly enjoy it. I enjoy working for myself, but the stress is like stress I've never experienced in my entire life. So it is amazing. It's literally, there's so many pros to working for yourself, but one of the cons is you'll just wake up at 2 a.m. and you're like, I need to do this to the website, and you just get up and leave your bed, or you're like, I need to send this email or whatever. And it's constant. It's not so much it's not a frontal lobe experience. It's subliminally. You're constantly thinking about things and you're constantly worrying over things. So you'll be with your family at the weekend, and everyone's looking at you and they're asking you a question, and my mind is in spreadsheets. I'm thinking about profit and loss accounts, or I'm thinking about what I should say to that client, or whatever. And I'm constantly, Kat and I constantly messaging all the time. It's like having a third person in my marriage. And I think the good thing is that both Kat and I have understanding partners, so they don't get too stressed with us. But I definitely think it's I one day, once we've moved on from whatever we're doing with Imagen, I definitely would love to work for somebody else and be told what to do, and have somebody tell me, go do this. And I'll be like, perfect. I go do that. I do my task, and then I go home. But at the moment, I do thoroughly enjoy it. And it's a journey, it's an experience. But there's two sides to the coin for sure.
Hey, Jay, with that mindset, you should go into teaching. We don't switch off either. You know, we'll wake up at 2 o'clock going, that'd be a really good idea for a lesson. I'm going to write that down. So you just let me know. Okay, I'll hook you up with some teachers, and we'll get you in. The holidays are great. Okay, but there's still a bit of stress. Yeah. All right, there's still a bit of stress.
Well, holidays are great, but you still work through them, right? Because I mean, I'm from a family of teachers, like my whole family of teachers. Yeah. I have literally grown up like seeing the stresses that brings. So I have so much respect, like totally off the cuff, but like I have so much respect for you, because you guys work so hard.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, this is my Easter holidays right now. So,
of course, exactly.
Party time with you, pair. I like it. It's good. It's good. So what's next then for yourselves and Imagen? Jay, you're alluding to your future career goals. I mean, I don't know if you were ever going to tell Kat those, but I'm right there now. So what's next for Imagen? Are you kind of staying where you are, or have you got kind of growth plans? You know, you don't need to divulge trade secrets and things, but what's next for you both and Imagen?
Yeah, good question, mate. I think the next big step for us is we launch our web app to the community the first week of May. So what that means is it's just a quicker way for our community to get paid, to provide insights, and it's just a platform that simplifies the entire process for them. So that's super exciting, and we're going to be launching at the beginning of May. Clients will then be jumping on board with that as well, because it's a yearly annual subscription. So they just pay a yearly subscription, and they get to send a certain number of briefs out to the community. So it streamlines our entire process. It makes our sales process so much easier. So I'm personally really excited about it, and I know Kat is from a community end as well, because it just means the sign up process for our community is so much easier, and they just get push notifications. They don't need to worry about staying on track or waiting for emails. They just get a push notification through to their phone saying, hey, this brief is live right now from this brand, jump on board and get involved. So we're super excited about that, man.
Yeah, and I think just in addition to those, I mean, we're so excited about the web app. It's literally all we talk about. But it's also building more relationships with education providers, with youth organisations, apprenticeships, basically any organisation that looks after young people within the ages of 16 to 26. And that's where I spend a lot of my time, is, you know, sourcing those people and trying to talk about what we're doing to encourage more young people to join so that we can provide more paid opportunity to them. And then ideally after that, because I think every meeting that Jay and I have, we get asked, what, you know, are you going to be in America? Are you going to be in the rest of, well, in Europe? You know, so expansion into other markets is definitely going to be on the card for us as well.
Wow, exciting times coming up. So we'll keep our eyes on you. That's absolutely fascinating. Let me go personal again, if you don't mind me doing this here. Kat, I'll ask you first as we roll on here. Kat, did you do A-levels and university? And if so, what did you study?
Yep. So I actually was, we always get asked this. So I loved school. I was really good at school. I was kind of expected to have quite a set out path. But I did my GCSEs, did A-levels, I did English, media and dance, so totally random. And then I decided not to go to university, and that was much to the stress of my family. But it is, yeah, I kind of had I wanted to travel, and then I knew what I wanted to do and the industry I wanted to work in. So for me, I kind of had that vision. And then obviously, yes, the rest is history in terms of the businesses.
Wow, fascinating. Yeah. Okay, what about you, Jay?
So I was very good at being badly behaved at school and didn't really figure out what I wanted to do till about year 11. Luckily I'd studied business. So my business studies teacher, Mr. Wright, was like yourself. He was a phenomenal human being, and he helped me to focus on business. But I decided to go study a BTEC at college because A-levels terrified me, the idea of doing exams. So I studied business at BTEC at college, got distinction because I'm a genius. No, I'm missing, but I got distinction. Then off the back of that, I didn't know what I wanted to do next, and all of my friends were applying to university, and I didn't really know if I wanted to do that, but I just applied to 6 courses at the same university, which apparently isn't what you do.
Oh, it is nowadays. We tell our kids, like, you left a box empty. Why did you leave a box empty? You know, so you did the right thing. It's fine. From a business teacher to a former student, well done.
And then I went and studied business and management at university in Birmingham. So yeah, did that for 3 years, and potentially will never ever study again. I read a lot of books though. Both Kat and I are avid readers.
Yeah,
so
we do.
Even outside of formal education, we're still studying.
Oh, fantastic.
And then obviously
wow.
I've just recently studied to be a PT, and that was probably the most stressful studying that I've ever had to do. Well, the first time I was pregnant and the second time I had a tiny baby. So yeah, go figure that one.
So you've picked your moments well then, Kat, by the sound of it. My word. So lifelong learning though, you know, and it's fascinating, your different journeys, the different paths you've taken to now be running the same business is, you know, it goes against the textbook theory side of you do this and you do this, and then everything just falls into place naturally. So it's great that you've kind of blown that out the water, so to speak. I'm going to ask you 2 more questions, if that's all right, just keeping my eyes on the time here. Social media is a way of life for a lot of people, especially Gen Z. You know, I see this, I don't want to call it an addiction because I'm not qualified enough to call it that, but certainly a need and a desire to be on social media, to check social media, to communicate on social media. And I know that a lot of employers look and Google people before they get hired nowadays. So what would be your advice to 16 to 26-year-olds who have got Twitter, Instagram, TikToks, Snapchats, and all those kind of things? You notice I didn't say Facebook there. What would be your advice to them in terms of their social media presence online?
Yeah, I think the good thing is, especially with Gen Z, because they've grown up with social media, what we're actually seeing a lot of, and my son's a prime example of this, is even though they're online, his handle, you wouldn't technically be able to know his Instagram handle was him. His profile picture, you don't know it's him, and he doesn't really post photos. So if you post stuff, he removes it. He has this constant thing of posting something on his Instagram and then removing it. So I think they're already on the way of going, hey, you know what? I want to share certain parts of my life, but I don't want to put everything on social media. But from my perspective, I would say with things like LinkedIn or anything that you've got that's public, try and keep it professional. So if you've got something that's public and you know other people could technically just Google your name and find it, keep that professional. If you are doing a TikTok, or you're on Discord or whatever it may be, you're on these other platforms and you've got it so it's public, so people can see it. Sorry, yeah, if you're on TikTok, so I know you're creating content on there and you might try and do things for laughs or whatever. But again, just make sure that it's not something that in the future you would regret posting, because you don't really want to get shot in the foot for that. And I know that it's happened to people. I know that she was the editor for Teen Vogue, and somebody found a tweet that she tweeted 9 years ago, and she actually got fired from her job as editor of Teen Vogue. So just bear those things in mind when you're putting anything that's going to be public. Try and keep it professional. If it's private, do whatever the hell you want. If people can't see into that, then go wild, because it's just for you and your close-knit group. But also bear in mind that if you're going to keep that private, try and keep it private to people that you trust. Because if you let people in and they may not be somebody that you trust, they might just screen record that and be like, hey, this is what so-and-so has been doing on their private Instagram. So yeah, my Instagram's on private, but my Twitter and my LinkedIn are public. So my Instagram's really, I've got like a few thousand followers, whatever, but they're people that I know that won't be sharing my stuff out. But then with regards to my public profile, I'm keep it super professional. Not that my Instagram's not professional, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with everything you said today, to be honest. And I think I'm the same. My Instagram is private, but my other channels like LinkedIn and Twitter are open because we use them as purposes. And you know, if you were to Google both our names, the only stuff that comes up is business related. You know, even photographs that might have been from ages ago. None of them are from none of them are anything that I wouldn't want people to see. And yeah, I think that's the key, is just to always remember that someone may find it in the future.
Brilliant. Thank you both for that. I remember somebody telling me, don't put anything on, but you wouldn't want your nan to see. And that's kind of stuck with me. God bless them both. They're not here anymore. But, I always thought, what would my nan have thought of that? And that's been my guiding kind of light. And it's interesting to hear your views, but keep it professional. It's a global world, and be very careful with what you put and what you want people to know about you, because people can find it out very easily nowadays. All right, let's do one last question then for you both. And I don't think I didn't prep you for this one because I wanted to catch you off guard a little bit, because I'm that kind of teacher. So if you could go back to when you were, say, 17, 18 years old, the age range of my students and people watching and listening, and give yourself some advice that you wish you'd followed, or if somebody gave you some advice that you wish you'd followed, what would that advice be? I don't know who wants to take it first.
Yeah, I can go. I mean, for me, it was just, I really struggled with the fact that I didn't go to university, and Jay knows this all too well, that even now, very occasionally, because I'm much more open to speaking about it, but I still really struggle if people ask me that question, because I feel like I should have gone, whatever pressures they were around me. But it hasn't stopped me from achieving what I wanted to. And so I wish I'd kind of had more confidence around that and been given that advice that, we will, whether that's from the family or from other people, you can still do things if you don't want to go to university, if that's not your chosen path. I'm not encouraging anyone not to go to university, but I'm just saying that whether that's education, whether that's following your dream, whether that's a passion point that you have, is that really think about what is important to you, and just don't worry about what people think. Just really, really trust your instincts, because it's you and you. And if there's something you really, really want to do, just do it.
And how interesting, you said that it still hits you a bit on the confidence level, but look at everything you've done. You run a social enterprise, you're running a business, you're a mum, you've just retrained to be a personal trainer, and all those things that you still think, should I have gone to uni? So it's great to think that, there are different options out there for you, and you've proven that, with everything that you've done, and thank you for sharing that with us. What about yourself, Jay? What would you tell 17, 18-year-old Jay?
That's a good question, man. I think going off the back of what Kat just said, I definitely think it's because with regards to the confidence thing, even now at 30, I still is this the right decision? Like, are we doing the right thing? Are we stupid? Is this a dumb? Like, you constantly have those things. So I think it's getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And as a human being, you just have to get used to that. You have to get used to the fact that you're not always going to be comfortable with the decision you're going to make, and just to rest in that. But okay, I'm uncomfortable at this, and I'm scared, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I think that's a great thing. And then the other thing is just to relax. And I think a lot of the time I speak to a lot of teenagers or folks in their early 20s, and it's all so serious. Everyone's, I need to do this because it needs to go on to do that. And our parents are like, make sure you study these subjects because then you can go and do so on and so on. And I think the good thing is that we live in a day and age where you can try and test so many different things. Try loads of different things because you never know what's going to work for you. Because ideally, my mum hit the nail on the head earlier. She's like, you're going to work in sales when you're older. And she got it right. But she also said things to my brothers and sisters, and they were all predominantly wrong. So it's not that people that are older, you could have like a magic ball or whatever, and they can tell you what your future is going to be. So a great thing about the world we live in is you can try and test different things. So give things a go, see if you like something, say, okay, you know what, I want to try this sport, or I want to go and try this subject, whatever. Just try and test things and read books around loads of different subjects so you can figure out, actually, what do I love? And that's alluding to what Kat was saying a second ago. What am I passionate about? What do I love? But you can't find that unless you try and test loads of different things. So don't take it so seriously, like I need to know what I want to do for the rest of my life at 17 years old. Because the truth is, what I thought I was going to be doing when I was 17, what I'm doing now is nothing like it. I didn't expect to be doing this. We kind of walked into this business and fell into this business, can I say. It wasn't something that was planned and well calculated, and we were geniuses and came up with this thing that nobody else was doing. We just kind of fell into it. And I think you have to just relax sometimes about, okay, you know what? It is what it is. Life is going to happen. I'm just going to figure out the journey.
Yeah. And thank you both for sharing those insights. It's interesting to hear you echo what I've heard other people say with regards to maybe tying in volunteering here, and the fact that you can go and just try things. But your career journeys, I know it's a long time, from when you're 17, 18 to when you're 60, 65, 70, whatever the retirement age is going to be. That's a long time. You don't have to decide in year one of your career, but this is now it for the next 45, and I'm proof of that. You're proof of that. And a lot of people I speak to are. So thank you for sharing those insights here. Is there anything else you want to add before we go with regards to Imagen? Where can we check you out? Where can we sign up? I know you've got your web app coming. Where can we go for more information if we want to do that?
Yeah, so if you go to our website, www.imageninsights.com, and all of our social handles are on there as well. Sign up, we can share the link with you to sign up if you're interested. It's free to join, it's free to take part in any of our challenges, and you can take part as many as you like. So yeah, we would love to have people on board.
Awesome. Well, listen, thank you both very much. Really appreciate you taking the time out. You're no doubt rather hectic schedules by the sense of all the things you're doing and that you've got coming up, to chat to me and the students and anybody else watching and listening to this, really, really good of you. And I look forward to hearing what my students think about Imagen Insights as well when they get signed up and go through some of your programs and some of the briefs that you're going to have on there and get their opinions as well. I think that'd be really interesting, and I can get those back to you in a roundabout way as well, so you can keep rolling with Imagen Insights. So thank you very much. Stay on the line after this if you don't mind. Just for a minute or two, and we'll say a proper cheerio. But for now, thank you very much. And I'll see you again sometime, and cheers.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much to Kat and Jay for sharing their information, their advice, their experiences and their journeys to become business founders of Imagen Insights. There's a lot to digest in that, and I hope that you take some of their amazing advice and inspiration and motivation along with you on your career journeys as well. So a big thank you to Kat and Jay. Be sure to check out Imagen Insights if you are aged between 16 and 26 and part of Generation Z. And thank you for watching and listening to Talking Business with me, Danny Pardo. Say hello on all the social media channels and be sure to rate, review, like, share, subscribe and all those good things to this podcast and video. And we'll see you again soon on another episode of Talking Business with Danny Pardo. Thank you. Cheerio.